Okay, we will have a nice, gentle practice today. In the yoga world, you may see this called as a yin class, where it's just holding stretches for a longer time. Um, and it can be just as effective as moving our bodies really quickly. So, kind of like we think winter is a season that has to happen. The things pause, trees lose their leaves, flowers go into the ground, and even though it looks like nothing is happening, like stuff is happening to prepare the earth to do all the things they want to do. So just like every other living thing, we get to pause and rest as well in order to fuel what we want to do in the world. So I like to say rest is just as active as doing. So we'll get started today. If you have a pillow and a blanket, we're going to kind of try to make a bolster if you've ever been in the class. So what it is just kind of like a thicker pillow that we can lay on. So one thing, if you have a blanket, you may want to roll it kind of like a chunky roll, so it could almost even like fold a little bit. And you get to choose. So once you're here, the whole goal is comfort. So if you're like, ooh, that doesn't quite feel right, you get to change it. We're going to lay back on this on our spine. So just play around. Please take, we'll be here a while, so take your time setting it up to feel good. You could put your pillow on top of this if that would feel good. You could play around with putting your pillow under. You're going to lay down. If your head is like off of it, you could use your pillow for a pillow. And you're just laying down, spine on, little pillow, arms comfortably at your side to open up this front center, heart opener, without having to do a lot of work. So please, when you lay down, and if you feel like, ooh, that's not quite comfortable, adjust. Don't feel stuck here. Maybe you want to just gently shake head no back and forth a little bit, just to loosen those shoulders. And then find center. If shoulders are up by ears, just see if you can tiny little bit pull them down toward your feet. Knees can be bent here. If that doesn't feel good, you can straighten, but sometimes that just takes a little more toll on your back. So just play around and check with what feels good. And then your job here is to use your breath. So it doesn't even have to be huge breaths. This should feel comfortable. So if not, adjust. But just inhale, fill belly with air. Maybe chest, feeling that back gently pressing on your blanket. And exhale, release. And just continue that and pay attention to the areas in your body that need a little stretching and send your breath there. See if you can slowly and gently inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. I've began reading a book about the importance of breath and all that it can do for us. It's such a thing that we do every day, but when we're a little aware of it and aware of how we breathe, we can change so many things in our body. I've said before, our breath is connected to our emotions, especially if we're shallow breathers and just breathe into our chest area, not down into our belly. That can lead to anxiety. And not that breath alone can cure all the things, but it can significantly make a difference. And check in if you're clenching anywhere, squeezing. I always have to check in with my glutes. That's been a spot that I've been squeezing lately, or my jaw or shoulders. Just bring awareness to what can you do to relax that spot a little more. We'll take a couple more breaths here. If it would feel okay, on your next inhale, reach arms up above, shoulders away from ears. I like to do a V, especially if you have like tight space in your shoulders, so your arms aren't straight, but they're out a little. And then point those heels and just give yourself a big body stretch here. If it doesn't feel okay, roll off of the blanket and remove it and lie flat on your back and do it. Yeah, just a gentle stretch. Soften where you can. Like, can you stretch but soften? Often when we're stretching, we are, kind of a little tense. Could be. Exhale, release. And gently roll off of the blanket and pillow. We're going to move to lying on our back. And what we're going to do, you'll need a pillow and a blanket at each side. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together and knees out to the side in like butterfly pose, whatever you want to call it. But here's the deal. You get to stick that pillow and blanket under each side. So the further you are out, then the more open your legs are. The closer you are in, then the more support you have. And we want to be supported here. Like, again, check as supported as you need so you're not gripping. Like, we want this to be a gentle stretching opening here, but with support. So I can release my glutes, release my jaw, release hips. So take your time. We'll be here for a little bit. So find a spot where things can be comfy. No worries, especially in this stuff. Sometimes like that can be the practice, is finding where that spot is. So if you need to adjust, please adjust. If it isn't comfortable at all, you can even turn your pillow or blanket up so it's a little more supporting. And then bring awareness to your breath again here. Gently inhaling through your nose. And exhale, release. And yeah, if it's not comfy at all, just come to lying on your back. Don't worry. Or another thing you can do is tree pose while laying down, where one leg is straight and one leg is bent, like you're doing tree pose. And you can lie like that is another option. You can send breath to any spots you're stretching or feeling or trying to release stress from here. If you're doing tree pose and you want to switch legs, feel free. And I will tell you, sometimes you're like, people will see a practice like this and think it's easier. It actually can be a lot harder to lie in poses longer. Our thoughts can be running through our head a little more. It can be hard to be in stillness. Our body just wants to move, or it's uncomfortable or something. So that's part of the process. Don't beat yourself up if that happens at all. And then here, go ahead and gently bring knees up toward the ceiling. You can move the blanket and pillow out of your way. Hug those knees in. Bring hands to your knees, fingers towards your toes, and just play around. You can circle those knees one at a time, like a figure 8, or you can rock side to side. You can move those knees around, kind of like my one teacher says, like it's a joystick and you're playing a game or something. And just kind of, after stillness, find a little movement there. Beautiful. And then from here you can roll onto a side and make your way slowly up to seated. Yeah, take your time. Take a couple breaths on the side if you want. Ooh, I came up and it feels a little lightheaded. Okay, let's take a couple breaths there. Maybe check in with neck and do a little neck stretching. So you can do circles if you want, or you can bring one ear toward one shoulder and move your chin around there. Just checking in. And then if it feels okay, bring head back, nose pointing towards ceiling a little bit. Rock here. They used to, I know, like tell you be really careful with this, and I think we have to, but I also think it's necessary with all of our looking down. And then roll on to the other side. Bring ear toward chin here gently, or ear toward shoulder, and move your chin around here. And play around, just check in with any spots. And take a breath to finish up and come back to center. We're going to do a little bit of a different pose here. Again, that may require a little figuring out. So this is called fire log pose. And I'll give you, if this is like, gosh, this is not working for you, we've got something else. So your left leg is going to be on the bottom, like you're sitting kind of crisscross, left leg on the bottom. And you want to flex your foot a little bit. So like, instead of just kind of letting it lay, you gently flex it like you would be standing on it. And the reason for that, if you can see that there, the reason for that is to protect your knee. So then we're going to take our other leg and put it on top of this one. And here's the deal. Some people can bring it all the way to the thigh. Some people just bring it to the shin and flex that foot, and you'll feel a stretch. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even get here, don't worry, I can't either. Some days you can have your like pillow and your foot can like come up on that. Yeah. And trust me, it's, you know, weird to get into, and your pillow can kind of come under there, or your blanket or whatever, or on your leg. And if you're like, okay, I'm not able to get, like, so where I feel a stretch on this is this leg that's on top back into the hip here, like in the hip and underneath. If you're like, Christy, this is not working for me at all, and you've played around with it, if you like that figure 4 where you're lying on your back and your right ankle crosses over the left thigh, this can get into that spot a little bit too sometimes. Yeah, we're bringing all the weird stuff today, right? Fire log pose. So yeah, you can have that blanket. If you have a yoga block, you can play around with propping that up. You can have something under here. So just play around with propping yourself up. Another option is if you have something in front of you, you want to lean forward a little bit. But if you're like, I'm feeling stuff here, I feel a lot going on in this leg. And I shouldn't say a lot. It's not like super intense, but I feel a stretch happening. So when we do this yin, it's not always like, oh my gosh, it feels so intense. This is a super huge stretch. But it's like when we breathe and stay here for a little bit, stuff can happen. So soften shoulders however you can. And bring awareness to your breath. And you may have thoughts, I often do when I'm here, of like, can we get out of this pose yet? Is this over? That is totally okay. And you know, you will know to get out when it feels like there's pain especially if you have pain in your knee, where it doesn't just feel like, oh, there's a stretch, there's things happening. It feels like a little more sharpness. So just take some breaths here. Inhaling through your nose, and maybe you need to exhale through your mouth. Sometimes that's a little bigger release. Or through your nose. Notice thoughts that come up. Keep breathing as long as everything feels a-okay. That's the hard part about home practice versus in studio, right? Your brain is like, nobody's looking. Get out of this pose now. We'll take one more breath here. And then you want to carefully come out of this so you can gently grab the pillow, grab the leg, set it forward. Like, be careful, protect knees. Yeah. Bring legs out straight, shake them out a little bit. And then bring feet to the floor, hands behind you, and just like a gentle windshield wipering. And I mean, you don't have to go very far. It's just getting a little mobility. After being stuck in a pose for a little bit. That one is kind of intense for me, a lot going on. Even if it, like I said, it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest stretch ever, but there's a lot in those hip areas. When you're ready, if you need a shake out again or whatever, we are going to now put the right foot on the bottom, or whatever one you didn't do before. And remember to flex that foot. And it's not like a super like, oh, I'm squeezing, but it's just not splayed over. It's a little more straight, like it would be if you're standing on it. You may notice a difference in sides. I 1,000% have a difference in sides. So then you're going to bring the top left foot over and just find that spot to set it where it feels okay. You can have, like I said, you can have something under that foot. You can have something under that hip. You play around, and it's all about being supported, so you can be here in some way, and you have that same option to lie on back and do figure four. And you can flex foot here a little bit. And then where can you soften? And notice it's not about, I will tell you what's going on in my mind right now. Oh, I am holding tension here. I can't really soften. Like, that's okay. That's part of the process. And then just exhale fully. Naturally inhale. Check in. Are you bringing tension in your shoulders? Maybe you need to wiggle those a little or shake head. No. And then find stillness. And be okay if the stillness is uncomfortable. It is. We live in a culture that tells us we have to be doing all the time. Our productivity is related to our worth, and that is so far from the truth. We get to live life, enjoy it. We get to rest. We get to pause. We get to have fun. And apparently we get to sometimes sit in a tiny bit of discomfort in order to create a little more space in our body. We'll do one more breath here. And then we'll safely start to come out of this. So maybe you need to lift that top foot and gently set it in front of you a little bit. Remove props, bring legs out in front. Shake legs out a little bit. Yeah. Craziness, right? And then go ahead, bring hands behind you, bring feet to the floor. And there's that gentle windshield wipering, and it's not about those feet have to make it to the ground. It's more just moving hips in a different way than we normally do. Maybe bring them out one more time, shake them. Wonderful. From here, we're going to move to lying on stomach, and I'll kind of show you what we're going to do. I'm going to bring my left arm out behind me, just straight out behind me. And you may want your pillow here. Pillow, blanket, something for your head to lie on. And left arm is out to the side, and just a stretch with that left arm here. Now, some people love to like straighten this bottom leg and take this top leg and bring it behind them. I do not have the mobility to do that. So I kind of just lie on my side a little bit here. You can also, and always come out of it. If you're grabbing stuff, come out of this pose, especially. You can put a pillow between your legs if you'd like. Just find how can this be the most comfortable, even when there are parts that are not comfortable. You may have to play around with having that pillow or blanket or whatever just on your head and not by your arm. And you can use this right arm in the front to gently press you back a little bit if that feels like press your top shoulder back a little, or maybe you don't even need that. Again, it shouldn't feel like you're forcing anything, and it doesn't necessarily have to feel like something huge is happening. We're just using breath and a little bit of time to open space here in this arm. So just come to your breath. Feel like each inhale kind of fills you up. Exhale releases and creates space. And that shoulder area, arm, check that shoulder is relaxed a little. It won't be able to relax all the way, but just that you're not holding additional tension not needed there. And then when you're ready, slowly start to turn on your stomach. Bring that hand back and take a little breath here. And then go ahead and roll onto the other side. So right arm goes out. Come on to your side there. And just get your nice, gentle stretch here. Take the time to kind of find, what do I need to adjust? Where does it feel comfortable here? For me, I had to move my blanket up a little more so that my head was only on it and not part of my shoulder. So just check in. Those little pieces, little piece of self-care, right? Self-care doesn't always have to be these huge things. In fact, it mostly isn't. It's mostly how can we take care of ourselves in the little moments of the day. And then just bring awareness to breath here. Inhaling, filling through your nose and filling belly and chest with air, creating a little stretch there. And then exhale, release, and noticing the space. And take one more breath here. And then go ahead, slowly come to lying on your stomach. Take a breath here. And then go ahead and roll on to your back. And here, grab all the props, anything that you might need. If you want your pillow underneath your knees, If you want to cover up with your blanket, or if you want it as a pillow, or maybe you want your blanket under your knees and your pillow as a pillow. Seriously, just whatever feels good. Get cozy. Cozy, however you would like. Take tongue down from the roof of your mouth. Leave a little space between your teeth. And soften the jaw. Let shoulders melt into the ground a little more. If you need to just slowly turn head back and forth, feel free to do that just to release shoulders. And then find stillness once again. Bring awareness down your neck and throat, bringing a sense of softness and relief here. Bring awareness to the chest. As you breathe, notice maybe some space you've created or space that was already there. Bring awareness down your arms, to your elbows, to your wrists, to each finger on your hands. Bring awareness back up your arms to that chest again. Moving down your ribs. Noticing your breath with your ribs, inhaling, expanding, creating space between each rib here. And exhaling, release. And bring awareness down to the belly, bringing a sense of ease and calm here. Down to your hips, releasing any tension you're holding here the best you can, and knowing that that is enough. Down your legs, bringing awareness here to your thighs, to your knees, down your shins, to your ankles, feet, and toes. Bring awareness to each toe on your feet. Letting yourself just be and rest here, just like the rest of the world in winter, the plants, the animals. And then begin to lengthen. Inhales and exhales here. Bring tiny little wiggles to your fingers and your toes. And slowly, slowly turn your head from one side to the other. Still in slow motion. On an inhale, slowly bring arms up above. Give yourself a nice, gentle, long body stretch. Noticing your inhales, providing that stretch. Exhale, release, and having a little more space. On an exhale, go ahead and hug those knees in. You can choose if you want to massage that low back or roll or have stillness. And when you're ready, you can roll on to the side of your choice. And take a couple breaths here. And slowly make your way up to seated. Sitting comfortably tall, bringing shoulders down, softening jaw. Inhale, reach arms up, palms together. Exhale, thumbs to heart. Pause here and think of one thing you are grateful for today. Bring a smile to your face and thank you so much for practicing with me today.